right, welcome everyone to a special edition of Inside Hollywood with Vinny. With me today, I'm very excited to bring to the city of brotherly love for an outstanding upcoming battle in the streets of Philadelphia. We have a man who's done it all. He's been a model, he's been an actor, a race car driver, and now soon to be the champ of Philly itself. Welcome to the show, Antonio Sabato Jr. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thank you very much. Good morning to you and all your listeners and everyone who's watching.
Thank you so much. I know there's a lot of people are going to be seeing this. They're going to be loving it, and they're going to be loving you even more than they already do. Because I know you got a lot of fans out there. By the way, I'm sure you didn't know that, but there's plenty of people right now that are just so
I,
excited
I
about you being
love,
here.
yeah, I love my fans. I always have, and the ones in Philly, I love them even more. They've shown me so much love in the city. They embrace me. They want me to come and fight here, and I'm coming to give you a really beautiful show on September 27th, Saturday, September 27th, right here at 2300. We're going to have a great show. It's going to be a packed house, and I can't wait to show my talent.
And that is a great arena. I know very intimately for many years, decades, really. They've been putting on some great shows. They continue to do a great job down there in good old South Philly. Now,
Yeah.
Antonio, we're gonna dial it back a little bit because there's some people that may not be familiar. I mean, there's probably a few, but maybe not even that many that really don't know. But you've done it all, man. I have to give you a lot of kudos, as I said when we began the show.
Yeah.
Model, actor. I mean, you've done so many things that people don't. It would take 4 or 5 lifetimes to do for most people. You're
Yeah.
an amazingly driven person. A short time I come to know you, you're a really impressive person, man. So
Thank you.
let's start from the beginning, man. What got you into the? I mean, obviously, besides your looks, what got you into wanting to be a model?
Well, I never was a model in the sense that I wanted to do it. It just came about. I wanted to be an actor. My father was an actor. That's all I wanted to do. Coming to America as a legal immigrant, came here, earned my citizenship, did it the right way with my family, did it the hard way. Never asked, never demanded anything from this country. I wanted to earn everything. My family was always hardworking. We never took a dime from this country. We always wanted to give it back. We did it legally from day one, and I wrote it in my book. I came here to be an actor. I wanted to come here, come to American schools, learn the language. I mean, I was born in Rome, Italy. I grew up in Italy, and I started working as an actor. I really was driven to be working and doing what I love and what my father did before me. And God bless my dad; he's in heaven now. But he was him and my mom, who's still here with us, and was always supportive. What I wanted to do, I wanted to become a race car driver. I wanted to become a boxer. My father put me into boxing when I was 6 years old. In sports, my whole life, I never stopped training. But acting was something that I always wanted to do: make films, make movies. And then as my career took off, I was working on General Hospital and other shows. And I did a film that Calvin Klein saw back in the 90s. And he asked me to come to New York and meet him. We've been friends ever since. And he asked me to do the first campaign. So that was my modeling career. People think that I became a model. I never was. Never wanted to be a model. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be like Marlon Brando, Paul Newman, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, my dad. Those are my heroes. And I wanted to be strong physically, mentally, and I wanted to be a leading man and make movies around the world, which I end up doing, and I have never stopped. But yeah, I went to New York, met him, and I did 3 campaigns for Calvin Klein, the longest a male model or celebrity's ever done. I mean, 2 was a lot. I did 3 of them consecutively with amazing photographers, Wayne Mazer and Herb Ritz and Kelly Klein. Did amazing campaigns and as well as doing a lot of films and movies and TV shows and reality shows and winning reality shows. And I'm a driven person. I'll never stop. And this is the beginning of my career right now. Every day of my life, I feel younger and stronger and more driven than ever. I thank God every day. I thank Jesus Christ for everything He's given me. My wife, Katya, my family, my kids, my mom, who's still with us, like I said, who's always been supportive. And I never want to stop. I want to, I train every day, 7 days a week. I train like an athlete, not just for the 9 weeks of camp that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to LA right now after this, and I'm going to start my 9 weeks camp. I take what I do very seriously, especially in the world of boxing. My professional fighters who are friends of mine, who I've known a long time, they all know how good I am, and the world is going to see how good I am. And I'm ready to fight anybody. And this will be my first fight of many. I'm looking forward to fighting other people, and I want to fight again in December. And I want to continue to race cars, and I have dreams to be at Le Mans. I want to be able to race at Le Mans. I raced at Indianapolis a few times. Everything that I've always kept my mind on, my dreams on, I will do, and I will continue to do. And today's the beginning of my life, and we have a press conference tonight. It's going to be a packed house, And I don't know, I'm very excited about where I'm at mentally and physically and spiritually. And I'm ready to tackle anything, and the best is yet to come.
Well said. Now, for people that are watching this, that maybe they're not as driven, right? You're an exceptional human being, and God bless you. How do you mentally stay focused? Because as you know, having a family, different struggles through life. We all have struggles. Even stars, believe it or not, they have more struggles than we know. How do you overcome those adversities? You're flying all over the place, time away from your family. There's a lot of struggles that are involved and a lot of sacrifices. How do you stay mentally sharp in the face of all those different obstacles?
Well, I like challenges. I like overcoming challenges. I'm the Italian Stallion in every way. I'm the real Rocky. That's why this fight is dedicated to Sly and Rocky and those beautiful films that I grew up watching. We have one life and one life to live. And, whatever struggles that is, people give up. And for me, it's about winning all the time. If one door closes, you go through another one. If another one closes, you go through another one. If you can't go through it, you'll just break through it or go around it or go above it or go find a way. If things don't go your way, it means they weren't meant to be. So you just find another way. You just keep on winning. There's no losing of anything. I've always been like that, and I'll always continue to do that. And I think if you waste your time thinking about what ifs or this is too bad or I'm in a dark zone or whatever, and don't get me wrong, I've been through the dark side, but I overcome that. And God put me through those storms so I can see the light again. And if you keep having that faith, that belief that you can do it, you will do it. It's just a matter of time. And you can never give up, because once you give up, you start giving up on everything. My first fitness book was called No Excuses, because you put excuses in front of you, and I've had injuries. I had to overcome a lot of things. Growing up in Italy, we lost our home to a fire. We lost everything we ever had coming to this country. I wrote this in my book, The Untold Stories, the Antonio Sabato Jr. real life story of everything that I've been through. Because, yeah, I've been through the addiction. I overcome that. I've been through, the being blacklisted in Hollywood. I overcome that. I'm still making movies, and I'm still I do what I want. Right now, life, when you see the whole picture, when you see everything after all the dark side and all the things that happen in your life, that you think it's over, this is the end of everything, or you have grief or a loss in your family or friends or whatever. As you get older, you start seeing all these things. You start realizing that there's more to it than meets the eye. It really is. Your life, your soul, what God gave us is more important and more powerful. What we have inside of us, how God created us, is another level. And people give up on that. God put us here for a reason. And if you see that in you, that you are special, that you're unique, that the best is yet to come, that you will overcome anything. You are a warrior. My bloodline, my family, from my mother's side, from the Czech Republic, and my father's side from Sicily, in Montelebre, outside of Palermo. My bloodline is warriors, gladiators. So we don't give up. We fight lions. We become lions. And so people have that in them if they want to see the light, if they really want to see their soul and see what they're worth. You start changing everything around you. And once you see that, you find also peace in your life. You find a peace that, you start losing weight, you start feeling better. Everything starts changing because you see yourself how important your life is. And if you don't, and if you start looking at other people, or you start seeing Hollywood and go, I want to look like that. I want to be like that. I want to, instead of looking at yourself and go, I got everything I need in me. See, God gave us everything in us already. And people forget that they search for the material things. They search for money. They search for, they want a better partner. They want to, I can't lose weight. I'm overweight. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing, instead of looking at you, or I look in the past, people look in the past and go, I used to be good. I used to do this. Instead of looking at the present and go, what do I got right now? What's happening right here? I look in the mirror and I go, this is who I am right now. This is what I'm about. And you start seeing that the Spirit of God already has everything. Like you, it's amazing when you start seeing what you're worth and who you are and what you were put on this planet for. And that's why I'm fearless of anything, because I overcome, and I will keep going. That's why I'm the best fighter at 53 years old. That's why I'm in best shape of my life, because I never stopped. I work out 7 days a week. I train twice a day. I do things that nobody else does. But also that is also in my spiritual. I'm devoted to Christ. I'm devoted to my wife. I'm devoted to my kids. I'm devoted to my work. I'm devoted to treating people with kindness and love. And that's why I can, I can go and overcome anything. So when I see people giving up and losing hope, I go, you're wasting it. You don't know how much you're worth. You got everything in you. You're such a beautiful soul. You have so much to give to yourself and to others. Instead of like, some people give to others all the time in a sense like, I want to help everybody. I want to help everybody. And I go, it's a beautiful thing to help the world, or to help the neighbor, or to do this. But what about helping yourself? Are you happy with yourself? And most people aren't. They really aren't, because they don't want to see the truth that they have to put in the work and the dedication. To work on our relationship, you got to sit down with your partner and work things out and be able to give those habits away and change your life. If you want to lose weight, you got to stop eating sugar. You got to stop eating carbs and all this saturated fat. There's responsibilities that we have to take for ourselves to go to the next level, not just saying, I want. So we live in a society right now where we do too much of negative stuff and not enough of the good stuff. And I want to showcase this part of my life to the world and go that I want to show to everyone that the best is yet to come. Like Frank used to say, man, your best days are here today. That's why today means everything, because that's why they call it a present, because living in the present is a gift, but people live in the past or they live in the future. I want to travel next year. I wish I could go to Italy. I wish I could do this. And I'm like, why don't you plan a trip? Why don't you sit down with your partner and actually book the ticket right now, a year from now, so you will go there, and put those kind of things in front of you that they will happen. And so I want to showcase that, because a lot of people are wasting their lives, and it's not good to do that.
I agree with everything you said. And I think that I remember reading something where it said that, in nature, everything tries to reach its fullest potential, whether it's a tree, a plant, whatever it may be. Everything's trying to reach its full potential. That's how it's designed, except for human beings. We always somehow find a way to kind of sabotage ourselves. But, there's also times where you turn that corner, like you said. You overcame a lot of things, and myself also. And sometimes you sit there and like, I wish I didn't do that one thing. But if you didn't do that, it would have changed the dynamics. You need to do certain things. But the important thing is you have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and challenge yourself. And I agree with you totally. And it starts mentally. Well, maybe it starts spiritually, and then it starts mentally, because you need the spirituality. In my opinion, you need the spirituality. You need all
Oh,
those
we're
different
spiritual
things.
beings. You're talking about a tree is a beautiful tree, but it's growing underneath as much as it's growing upwards. The tree is a lot bigger underneath it in the darkness. The roots are growing so far into the land to make it grow up here. And I think people forget that you need to grow inside spiritually to grow out of it. And God put us here for that reason, and we need to express that. And so when you see the beauty of people stepping out, when I went to rehab, which was amazing for me because I really learned about myself, why I'm here, being away from, and I was in rehab. I was addicted to pills and things or whatever, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. I think it's necessary to talk about it. And when I was in there with people that were either going to jail or coming out of jail, or actually people are gonna pretty much gonna die, or they were about to die, or I seen people die in front of me in these places. I got to a place where I was away from technology, I was away from everything. And I go, this is what life is all about. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to really look at myself and go, hey, this is what I got to do. And I looked at myself in a different way spiritually, where I grew so much that when that was over, I was awakened with the truth. And when you get to that place of like being down and out, where at the bottom, there's no more bottom anymore, and you start looking up and you start looking at all the beautiful things that life can give you, you start rising up to that. And all of a sudden, your life changes to a place of no return. And it's beautiful. And since then, it's been better. And I thank God for that. And I thank God for everything He's given me. And right now, the way that I am, I want to reach people. I want to help people, because hopefully by saying all these things, people are going to be like, let me shaking this stuff up. I'm done living this life. I'm done living like this. I'm done, blaming and pointing the finger and going, hey, you know what? My life used to be, and I used to play football, and I used to look healthy, and now I'm overweight. And enough of that. I'm going to do something about it, because I'm worth that and some. And I want to do this for myself, for my family, and for the world. And when you see that and you see people rising up to that, man, and the more people do that, You don't rely on technology anymore. You don't rely on the news anymore. You don't rely on the fakeness of the world. You rely on the reality that people forget, which is like simple things. We don't really need much in life. You don't really need much. All you need is some food, some exercise, a clean mind, a clean soul, and just to go out there and do it, and not think about it too much. Because our minds, when we start thinking too much, we get in the hole, in that darkness, what ifs and buts and all this stuff. Instead of, you're wasting your time. That clock keeps ticking. You don't know how long you're going to be around. And we need to appreciate every moment like it's your last. Today's special. I woke up today, I looked at I'm looking outside, I'm breathing air in my lungs. And so that's a beautiful thing to live. I don't want people to waste that, because when human beings are living, fully living, there's a happiness and a peaceful joy about those people that is amazing. And I like to see that. And that's what kind of peace I'm in right now. I'm the peaceful warrior.
Amen. And it's a shame, but I see it every day. Growing up, I've seen it. You're right now. You're sitting in a hotel in Philly, and there's a lot of beautiful things, a lot of action. And then in some of these streets, unfortunately, you see these people that are stuck in addiction. They're stuck in the same cycle of just hopelessness and giving up. And so I think, me personally, and I'm sure you basically have said it, and you agree. You can't give up, man. You have to fight on. With
Yeah.
that, let me just take one step back, because I'm sure some of the viewers would be curious. Going back, now, people, the name of this show is Inside Hollywood now. So, and a lot of people glamorize, and as you and I both know, there's not a whole lot of glamour in Hollywood. There are also a very dark side. But tell us some of the, maybe the rewarding parts of your journey when well, you're still an actor, obviously, but as being like a new actor in Hollywood, young guy. I mean,
It's a beautiful, really beautiful business when you take away all the limelight and all the showbiz about it. My father was an actor. To make films, to be on a movie set is amazing. I love it. I love being around with the crew and the drivers and the makeup artists and all the producers and the writers and all the actors getting together to make something amazing. We're just gypsies. We're in a traveling circus, pretending to be something else and meeting people for the first time. And, I've done so many movies and TV shows that I just enjoy it. My father and I really love that part of just, getting up in the morning and hanging out by the craft service with the rest of the crew and going, what are we going to do today? And then talk to the director and the rest of the actors and go, we're going to make something special. We don't know how this is going to turn out to be. We don't know. We just don't know. But that's exciting. And every movie, every TV show is different. And so the whole process, I know it's a very compelling business. Everybody's going after the same role, and there's a lot of letdowns because you don't get the part or whatever. But when you do get the chance to work on a movie, when you do get a chance to work on a movie set or TV show or whatever, or a play or whatever, there's something that you stop forgetting about life, of all your issues and problems, and everything becomes better, and then I don't know, and then that movie and that project will stay with you for the rest of your life. It's just a beautiful business that I truly adore. I love producing it. I would love to direct more. I would love to. I just never going to stop. I'm going to keep making movies. I have a great film coming out this fall called that I can't wait for the world to see. This is going to be a spectacular film. The film that just came out last year, Grace by Night, was one of the best movies I ever made, and I want the world to go see it. You can see it on Tubi, you can see it on Amazon Prime, and it should have been in the movie theaters. And whatever, that's out of my control. I did the best I could, but it wasn't my film to own, and it wasn't my film to distribute. But that movie was special, and so I'm still in it, and I'm still want to make great films. I have a film that I want to make that my father wrote that is very special to me. It's called Moments That Count, about a boxer, and I think that's going to happen next. So there's a lot of things that movies and then bringing relationship together, meeting strangers and doing things, and all of a sudden you're friends with these people for forever. One of my best friends is Robert Rabaya. He's an Australian actor, really well known, and we worked together for, we known each other for almost 30 years now. And I met him, and we became friends on a TV show called, on a miniseries called Tribe, that I shot with George Miller down in Australia, and that opportunity came from this business. So, and just meeting amazing folks. Peter Savick is one of the greatest hairstylists. He's the one that I met on the Janet Jackson video many years ago, and Herb Ritz, the amazing Herb Ritz, shot that video. and Peter is still a friend of mine. And so there, I don't know, this business is incredible. And I tell everyone, especially like you were asking me about when you're starting out in this business, never give up on that. Never surrender, never lose hope. And then one of the greatest quotes and things that my mother told me was, work so hard that they can't tell you no. You're going to be so good that they can't tell you no. So if you have that mentality that, when you go to an audition, when you work on a project, you are so good and dedicated. And that goes with everything in my life. And if you're so dedicated to that, it's going to work. It's going to be fine. It's going to be on your side when you know you give it everything you got. And so you can be happy with yourself knowing that you did that. And I tell that to my kids. I tell that to anyone that wants to know, especially the ones that are starting out. And also parents. When parents, I used to have an academy for acting for children because I love kids. I love helping them, and I used to tell them that, especially the parents, I'm like, you got to be dedicated as much as your child. You got to give your life up. You got to take them to auditions. You got to drive them there. You got to wait for the audition. You got to so there's a sense of like responsibility that I know you want your kid to be an actor or an actress, blah, but your job as a parent and to watch out for them, to be there, it's extraordinary. It takes a lot of time and devotion. So I want them to know the reality of it, that it's not going to be, I want my kid to be a star. Does your kid want to be an actor, not the star? Because you need to start thinking about it as a craft. How good do you want your child to be? How that, your child, you got to talk these things with them. And also there's a side of it, the business side of acting too, the representation, the agents, the commercial agents, who do you trust, who you don't trust. So you got to really put a lot of time and effort, and you got to do that. And but obviously when it turns out to be good, it's great. But this business is overall a fascinating business. And also my father told me, when you go to work on a movie and you want to do this as a career, it's no more than being a plumber. It's no more than being a driver, a bus driver, or whatever. It's a job that you love. You punch in and you punch out. You work extremely hard, but it's no more than that. You're not walking on water. You're not Jesus Christ because you're an actor. You know what I mean? It's a job. Always treat it like your feet are planted on the ground. Be humble about it, no matter how much money you make or fame, because that fame, that thing that you can't even touch or grab. It's an illusion. That fame. What is fame? It's not real. But going to work and loving what you do and giving it all you got, and keeping your life private, and then going to work. And I'm always asked, who do you hang out with in Hollywood? I don't hang out with anybody in Hollywood. I make movies. I'm an actor. That's my job. And then I go home to my private life. I don't have to hang out with everybody. I don't have to hang out with the actors. I don't have to do, I already did all that. I don't have to do that. I go to work, I punch in and I punch out. If you want to be my friend, you got to earn my friendship. Not because we're actors, we're going to be hanging out. We're actors. I want to hang out with famous people. I could care less. To me, the only famous person, I mean, the only person that lived on this planet was called famous is Jesus Christ. Everybody else is just a human being. So I treat it like a really good job, like I love dearly, but then I go home and it's a different story.
And now you're transitioning into this upcoming match which is, I mean, the whole city's really coming alive and coming together for this. This is going to be a big deal. You're
Yeah,
putting yourself in this house series you're taking. You're putting yourself in the camp. You're locking yourself in, and you're going to be dedicated. Now,
yeah.
tell us what you're going to be doing for the next few months leading up to the match.
Yeah, I'm leaving on Tuesday. I'm going to be in camp at Steel Boxer with the greatest trainer of all time, Chris Steele, and the whole family there, my sparring partners. And I'm doing my 9 week, my 9 weeks of training camp. I take this very seriously. I will be ready. I'm ready to fight now, but I will be ready to fight pretty much any professional fighters. I'm going to shock the world. I'm ready to fight multiple fights. These are not sanctioned fights, but they're boxing fights. This is a real fight, and I'm just that good. I really believe in my talent. I could fight any of the professional fighters right now today, and I'm excited to do that because I take the sport of boxing really serious. I come from the world of boxing of the '80s. Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Hagler, Duran. Where they used to fight multiple fights a year, and they were training to a whole new level. They were training all the time. That's how I train my life. That's how I train physically and for the sport of boxing. Same thing for racing cars. I'm always in the simulator. I'm always racing. And the same thing with boxing. I'm boxing, 7 days a week, twice a day, all year long, even on Christmas Day. You know what I mean? For me, is a whole new level. I don't do what everybody else does. I don't do what professional fighters do. Professional fighters train for 9 weeks and then they gain weight and it's over. I mean, look at Jake Paul. I would love to fight him. He's a guy he's fighting all these huge fights and he's looking worse every single time. You know what I mean? And I would love to fight him. His brother, Logan Paul. I want to fight Shane Mosley next. I would love to fight him. And then work my way up and hopefully fight somebody like Jake Paul and Mayweather. I love to get in the ring with him or Conor McGregor. I can take any of these guys in my 50s. Imagine how embarrassing they will be after I beat them. And so I'm excited about that. I really love the sport of boxing. I always have since my father put me in the ring at 6 years old. I've had, and I still do, friends in the boxing world that I adore, that I love dearly. And my father was a boxer. My father was an amazing athlete. And yeah, and I want to showcase to everybody that even at 53 years old, you can be a hell of a fighter. And I just can't wait to showcase how good I really am. And I want to test the waters. And this will be my first fight of many.
Well, it's fantastic. Like I said, we're all excited here, and you know what, man, you have to be one of the most motivating persons and driven persons I've ever met. It's really a pleasure to come to know.
Thank you.
Fans, for all you out there, make sure you stay plugged in. It's coming up in September with his fight. We have an article coming out locally, Rojo Magazine. Thank you to the good gals over at Rojo Magazine. That article with yourself will be coming out this shortly in the summer issue. And any last words for any of your fans out there, anybody in Philly that you want to extend yourself to?
Well, I want everyone to know to go X Rumble Celebrity Boxing. You'll be able to order your tickets. You'll be able to know what's really going on. We'll also have footage of, behind the scenes, my training camp, sparring days, all that. Also, I'll be a steel boxer down in Venice Beach, California, starting this week. You guys are welcome to come. It's on Washington Boulevard and Ocean. Fans are welcome to come to check me training and stuff like that. I want to, we have open days where you guys can see me sparring and I'll do all that. I want the viewers and everyone to know what it takes. Training camp is, if you win training camp, you win the fight. That's how hard it is. And I'm excited that because, we do a lot of rounds. We do a lot of things that most people don't do. And in professional boxing, they don't do that. They do a few rounds here and there. I do 12 to 24 rounds, 3-minute rounds all the time. And so I want to showcase what Chris Steele has designed for me. And he's the best trainer in the world. And we want to take boxing to a whole new level. Everybody's fighting the same way nowadays. All the professional fighters, they square off, they throw the big shots, and they do exactly the same thing. For me, is throwing thousands and thousands of punches and moving and stick and move and Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard and all that stuff. And so for an Italian guy to see that, to be moving, to be flying, to be really light on their feet is something that I have never seen except my trainer and his son, Spencer Steele. And and that's it. So and the world is going to see that on September 27th, right here in one of the greatest cities ever in Philadelphia, which is a city of Rocky. And I'm the Italian Stallion, and this is dedicated to Sly. I hope that Sylvester Stallone can come down. We've asked him, so we haven't heard back. But I love for this to be so big that he can't say no to it. I would love to have Sly Stallone be there. This is also dedicated to my father, Antonio Sabato, and my entire family in Sicily and Rome. And we're ready, man. Everybody's coming from all over the world to see me fight. People are booking their flights from Australia, South America, Canada, and Europe, and Italy, and you name it. So it's exciting, and we're going to blow it out of the water. And tonight we have a press conference, and I'm looking forward to that and talking to the press and whoever shows up.
Well, this town loves a good fighter with a lot of heart, and you, my friend, that 100%, 1,000%. So I wish you the best. Again, folks, you're watching this. Make sure that you're following Antonio on all the social media. Make sure that you're watching his movies. Leave reviews. A lot of people, I have to remind everybody every episode, make sure you're leaving nice reviews for these movies. It's very important. And make sure that you just totally embrace and also share this event coming up in September. Antonio, you've been great, man. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, my friend.
We look forward for your big win in September.
Thanks, brother. Thank you very much. God bless.
You've been watching Inside Hollywood with Vinny. My guest has been the wonderful, amazing Antonio Sabato Jr. For those of you, again, subscribe, and we'll check you out next time.